Blakey and Tux, they're talking Cardiff City and some other stuff. Blakey and Tux, Dolly asked the questions on Blakey's Bootroom. Will always be blue.
Good afternoon and welcome to the first Blakey's Bootroom of 2016. Nathan and Steve in the studio. Happy New Year to you both.
Happy New Year, mate.
Yeah, hello. Happy New
Year.
Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Nice to see you.
Yeah,
Did you have a
nice
good
to
Christmas
see you
and all that?
Up until just about a minute ago. Yeah. No, I did, yeah.
The only problem I got is that present you got me, it must have got lost in the post on the way over, Royal Mail.
No, I didn't. No, I just didn't get you one.
Oh, all right, great. good start.
That's a lovely way to start the proceedings.
Happy New Year.
Indeed. New Year,
humbug.
a new Cardiff, a victory.
Yes, home to Blackburn Rovers.
Dogged stuff, wasn't it?
Entertainment takes a back seat in quest of the playoffs.
Well, I mean, anybody who was there,
Please.
I think anybody who was there, particularly the first half, will not disagree with that. It was a turgid opening 45 minutes. I mean, a couple of long shots on both sides, no chances, looked like two bang average sides. Fair play to the Bluebirds, though, and you got to say that. I don't know what Russell Slade said at half-time or what somebody said at half-time. Came out, lifted themselves a bit, stuck at it, and got the breakthrough through Joe
Can't do
Mason.
90 minutes, can we?
No, but it was nice to see them having a better second half than a first half, wasn't it?
Been away for a long time.
They're probably better off, but
Can't
deserved.
Okay.
A deserved win, definitely on the balance of play. But I mean, I don't think Blackburn, are one of your old clubs, are any great shakes at the minute. But I think as everyone will agree. I think I said, don't matter how they won it, as long as they won it. I mean, they went into the game 6 points off the playoffs, which was starting to look a bit after, let's face it, a really poor return over Christmas, really. 1 point out of 3 games in and around Christmas. So it was vital. The gap's back down to 4 now. And, a vital... Yeah, it was one of those games that looked like another low crowd. It wasn't one of those games that was going to have people rushing back to get a ticket. It wasn't one of those games that are going to have Slade detractors saying, "Oh wow, at least they're doing a good job." What it did do was get 3 points, and I mean that was absolutely a vital thing
For the quest for promotion.
Yes, I think so. I mean, I think just to cut that back from 6 to 4 points right now with the FA Cup break coming up, I just think, and who knows if they'd taken a point there and the way things had panned out, whether they'd have lost a bit more ground or what. I mean, I think, we've said it ourselves on here, haven't we? This part of the year now, absolutely pivotal, really.
It's gone now, isn't it, Christmas?
Yeah, but I mean, going forward into the new year, you're 6 points away, suddenly you're 8 points away, suddenly
I
you're
love
like...
your optimism. I love the way, remember when we were in the Premier League? I'd say,
I have vague memories of the Premier League.
We run out of games. When we were saying over Christmas is vital. And Sheffield Wednesday, you're like, it's a 6 point.
It's over Christmas is vital. Let's sack our manager. In the Premier League.
We've struggled, but yeah, I suppose...
Well, 4 points. I mean, I'm no mathematical whiz, but 4 points is better than 6 away, right? I mean, even a 10-year-old will tell you that.
You sound like a man who thinks it doesn't really matter because they're not going to be able to
it's just
string it
inconsistency, John. It's just too inconsistent. It's as simple as that. Like I've just said, we spoke about how important the Christmas period was, how it can take you up the league, get yourself in and around the playoffs, show yourself as serious contenders. But unfortunately, there's a lack of consistency, which game by game. And like I just said there, the Tugs, we're now on to the new month now of January, and back to that. Well, if we can, we're not playing well enough. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
You can see that. and I think most people can see that.
Yeah.
We just need consistency, simple as that.
Yeah, well, January's a big month, obviously. A vital month, you might say.
Well, that's, yeah.
Like Christmas
it is.
and every other month. But,
Is that the buzzword today? Vital.
Christmas for
It's
football.
vital that we hurry up and finish this show and get out to
I
a
mean,
pub.
starting with this game on the weekend, obviously, no Kenwyn Jones played his last game for Cardiff City. You would fully imagine.
Oh, totally, yeah. I mean, the guy's gone. But, I mean, I think that's the point which, I mean, that's the point I would make is January transfer window. They've got a chance now to do something, to shake it up. They're going to have to replace Kenwyn Jones. They know that, and I've spoken to people within the club. The words they were using were like for like. We know we need a target man. We want that's our main aim. Signing what up on a permanent. And I think, but I'm just saying, look. You think the analogy I would use? Think of when Fraser Campbell joined in the promotion season in the January. Came in, he scored on his debut. He lifted things up. I think he got 7 goals then before the end of the season. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying if. Why? Hey, I don't like being painted as the optimistic guy. It doesn't suit me. But I'm just saying if they could bring in a guy now, partner with Watt, get a partnership going, a guy who bangs in, what, I don't know, 10 goals between now and then. I'm just dreaming. All right, but I'm just hypothesizing, if that's a word. That could be the kick on that's needed. Because let's be honest, it's a bang average championship year this year.
You're not focused on the point. We're not playing well enough. You think one player's going to come in?
It up now.
You're saying one player's going to come in, and the Fraser Campbell effect is going to happen. You measuring apples and pears. It's two totally different situations.
Correct.
It's totally different.
Well, I'm only using that as an example of a player coming in and kicking it on, and hitting the ground running, what he can do, particularly goals-wise. If you could get a guy in now, a target man, a replacement for Kevin, that's getting 10 goals, for example.
Why did Fraser Campbell come in?
Why did he come in? In what way? Well, from his point of view, or for the club?
Because we had Nicky Maynard who had been injured, so it was imperative we replaced him.
Right.
Point is I'm trying to make is you don't try and create new partnerships through January transfer window to push on for promotion. It's almost like most managers, most people in football look at January as your patch up, where you've gone through the season, gone through Christmas, you've really come out the other side, you're in a good position, 1 or 2 injuries, kind of like what Arsenal are looking at.
What's the difference?
Let me finish what I'm saying. Like Arsenal are doing right now, and then you bolt onto your squad. To create brand new it's a big ask.
Well, what's the difference between losing Kenwyn Jones to a transfer and losing Nicky Maynard to an injury and bringing someone in to replace him? They're both exactly the same to me, really.
Okay.
I'm just saying. Look, I'm saying in the report, it's not pretty, and in no way is it going to be pretty. But I still believe Cardiff can get themselves a playoff place, and I particularly believe that if they can make the right signings in this window. I will crouch that in the terms of the thing that worries me, and I think will worry everybody, is Russell Slade's previous dealings in the transfer window.
Not just his, our
well, the whole club, the transfer committee. I'm just saying they haven't really done anything since Slade's been there that's made you think, wow, they brought so-and-so in, this is great. I mean, all right, a couple of all right full-backs maybe, and that's about it. But I'm just saying, if this target man signing that's coming, that hopefully is coming, that they want to come, it's the biggest signing for ages down there, I think. And if it's it's seriously. And if it's the right one, I think that could kick them on and see them grab a playoff place. If this guy can chip in with 10 goals, crikey, definitely that would be enough.
Who is this guy then? Anyone out there that you think?
Well, I don't know.
You'd like to.
I wish I hadn't talked about it.
Didn't I just
well, even if
Shamak
well, I was about to say good guy here, Peter. I think it is. Obviously, something he shared, saying, Marouane Shamak from
Wouldn't
Crystal
he be on
Palace,
the same sort of wages though? Wouldn't he be on a
similar ilk? You would have thought.
I'd heard it was a European player who was in the Championship, and that they were hopeful in the Championship now. Yes, a European-born player. I don't want to be all cryptic. I don't want to turn into Sherlock Holmes. That's all I know. that's what I was told by somebody who should know about these things, who was having a chat, and you know, off the record. And I'd heard they were very promisingly talking to a target man, European, who was in the Championship. So that's all. I mean, what more do you want apart from me to draw a picture?
He got his sources.
I got his sources, man. I don't know what.
He's connected,
I
man.
don't know what good they are, but
BT, I do.
But I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's all you take your bit. I mean, this guy might be right. I don't know, but I mean, whatever. It's a vital signing. It's massive.
For me, I just don't want to get too hyped. Do you know what I mean?
No danger of that.
Well,
No, definitely not.
Well, I'm not getting hyped, but I do think they're in with a shout.
And I think the fans are at the point where they kind of, you deep down, you want to think, yeah, we can. But realistically, I just think, you know, we'll cruise in.
For a bruising.
No, we'll cruise into the end of the season, and we'll just miss out. Or that's kind of what I'm.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't argue massively against that, but for me, let's be optimistic. Let's look at Christmas and call it a wobble. Let's look at Christmas and call it a wobble. Let's call it a wobble. Why not? You know, there's 1 point from 9.
We're supposed to be analytical.
They've been picking it. Well, he's analysing it. That's a wobble. Let's say, for example, they bring the hey, it's a long wobble, man. It's been wobbling.
Wobbles.
It's been wobbling for a few years now. No, and they come in, they bring the right signings in. There's also a winger supposed to be coming in as well, which could have a massive influence if they get the right guy. They go on a bit of a run, excitement builds. All right, it's not the prettiest, but fans come out, they claw their way back up to 7th. You're getting into February, March. They're 2 points off.
You can't get a ticket at Cardiff City Stadium.
You can't get it. Probably because the ticket office site is down. That's the only reason you couldn't get a ticket there. But
well, you know, what about a couple of people I spoke to quite like the look of Mason and Watt as a partnership? Not quite.
I wasn't massive on it personally. I thought they looked a bit samey to me. A bit similar. You know, they were. You know, making a lot of the same runs. They got in each other's way quite a few times. All right, it's the first time, really. Obviously, they played together like that, so you give them the benefit of the doubt. They won. Watt, particularly second half, a bit like the whole side, a couple of great runs and could have had a couple of goals. Through one time, just blitzed his fullback down. Keeper made it wasn't the greatest shot. Keeper made a save you expect him to. Next time, wriggled his way through. And Steele was lucky, really. I mean, he looked like he was going to pop it through his legs, and he just got on it. So I thought Watt looked terrific second half again. Whether he can work with Mason, I tell you one thing. I think there's people within the club itself who think he can't work with Mason. That it can't work. That is why this. It's my job, man. No, but I think that's why there's this all-out full assault on. They believe that they need a Kenwyn to work with Watt. That's what they want.
Does it? You know, long term, doesn't really matter. Because they're going to be
well, exactly, yeah. I mean, I think they see it as a stopgap. Yeah, as a stopgap measure. They see this guy coming in to be Watt's partner, and we're expecting Watt to sign in the middle of this month. Once the loan deal, I think the loan deal finishes on the 16th, and then we should see a deal done with Watt.
Well, yeah,
who's earned it.
Well, what about Kenwyn then? Is Cardiff legacy? Bob here says Kenwyn had to go an expensive luxury. Who didn't have the greatest attitude, he says, didn't do enough and had an adverse effect on some of the players. He says other experienced managers have had problems with him, which perhaps says something. And I think you said the other day he never quite won the hearts of the Cardiff fans. Would you say agree with that?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I wouldn't say
because you two were big fans of him. Well,
I
know
I
Blakey
disagree with what. It's just me now, is it?
Hey, he's gone now.
Yeah.
Waste of space.
I slightly disagree with part of whose comment was it? Bob's. With part of Bob's comment, because I think whenever we were in trouble, when he wasn't playing, he was the first person the manager would look to. And then when we got on the role of playing or winning games, not back to back, but 4 and 5 or whatever, he was at the heart of that. So I think that's slightly disingenuous to say like he's a problematic character. It's easy to say now, isn't it? I don't think he was ever I've always said treated as your number one or as, your squad. You usually really look after, babysit, mollycoddle, wrap them up in cotton wool, especially your strikers, your centre mids, your centre half goalkeepers. It's kind of like part and parcel. So I don't think he was ever treated fantastically well. Getting paid fantastically well, yes, but
well, there was always this quite open thing that Cardiff thought he was paid too much.
Why it doesn't make sense.
Well, as soon as they came out, we learned that they were offering him a new deal, but it was on lower wages.
Well, you're not offering him a new deal. You're asking him to go in.
Yeah, I mean, it was writing was always
because
on the wall.
if you really wanted him to stay, you offer him a deal which might be lower wages, but you say he gets back to the Premier League, and you incentivise it in such a way that he makes that money back up if you get promoted. You know, that's probably not even being spoken about. It's probably just, get him off the wage bill.
I think
open up talks, majorly reduced almost half what I hear, almost half of what he was earning, and no footballer's going to say yes to that. If they still feel they've got a good 2-3 years left in them, they're going to say no, move on.
I think the problem for him at Cardiff, in a way, I wrote this in a piece the other week, was, you know what Cardiff fans are like? They're heroes. They're always like dogged. Cardiff fans can, if they forgive a lack of class on the ball and all that. If you've got your socks around your ankles and you're strutting round in the pouring rain with blood coming out your nose and you're saying, come on, and kissing the badge, Cardiff fans are like, yeah, God, this is our guy, we love it. I don't think Kenwyn ever fitted into that mould in any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah,
I mean, he's a class striker, but
I don't think you can say that about anyone these days. Who would you look at and you say the fans right now are affiliated to and think, wonderful, we love him, he's a dogged.
Well, I suppose the last one was probably McNaughton or something. You have to say Kevin McNaughton they really liked, went recently.
Going back.
Hudson Peirce. I just mean that kind of ilk.
That affiliation with the fans, with the current team squad, if you like. I haven't seen that sort of thing. That's when you get into, he scores like 20 goals a season, he's had 3 good seasons, 4 good seasons, or he's a midfielder, he's been like captain fantastic for 4 or 5 years. Do you know what I mean? Kind of like Peter Whittingham, but playing regular and still the main man, or up there seen as one of the main man. I don't think we've got that sort of relationship with anyone at the moment. It doesn't seem to be that sort of feel between fans.
I think the players are a bit more. I think it's interesting. I think the players are a bit more distant now than they were. I'll use an example about in football reporting and journalism, which I know not people are interested in, but I haven't been doing it that long, just about a decade now. Compared to some of the guys out there. But the changes in that time, in the sense of, you used to be able to go up after a game, by the coach. The coach used to go and talk, you talked to Jay Bothroyd all the time, and Gavin Ray. I remember, I mate, it was a tough game, and and it's much more controlled. It's so much more controlled now from that sense, and I tell you what.
When you write stories, stitching people up.
They just don't trust me to talk to any of the players anymore.
I didn't go down.
Mate. But I think because that's the conduit where players get their thoughts out, because that's cut off. And I'll tell you one thing as well.
I don't and all that, because they can give their opinions
themselves.
I suppose
so, but I don't know. Maybe it's just me whining. Maybe and they can do the online stuff.
And not just that. There is a definite gap now between press and players. You can't get to the players, fans and players. You get off the bus, you used to sign autographs. Now they put the bus so far away.
I'll be fair to the Cardiff players with that. I mean, I don't. Every game I go to,
but in general.
But I mean, Cardiff players in particular. Every game I go to on Twitter later, I see pictures of them all with my son, and I think when they go in the car park and all that, the Cardiff City Stadium, they're not aloof. And I tell you what, this is the point. I don't think it's the players. I don't think they mind. They talk. They want a lot. Some of them. I mean, Kenwyn Jones, for example, it was a kind of guy who's like, I don't want anything to do. Fair enough with the press. A lot of them want to talk to the press. They want to say, their piece. They got things they want to say. It's more the club themselves now manage because what's changed. I mean, sorry, going on about journalism. What's changed because. The club now. The club. Hang on, if I'm boring you, I dread to think what's going to happen. The club themselves have their own website, of course, and they're like all websites, like the Mighty Wales Online. They're looking for traffic through that site, so a lot of it is controlled and put out there, which is fair enough in that case. But I do think it does tend, whichever way you look at it, it's like you said, I think there is a bit of a disconnect between the fans and the players, and particularly in the current Cardiff side. Like you say, there's no McNaughton. There's no real personality that the fans can say, "Oh, good old so-and-so." There's a respect for a lot of the players, but there's not that real deep love. And of course, that links as well. What you've been banging on about for ages is this sense of distance between the club itself and the fans.
Yeah, mate, it's all relative.
It's all part of the same
part and parcel.
kind of
Colin
parcel.
says the negativity around the stadium on a match day is absolutely awful. I'm 100% sure that this is picked up by the players and everyone else and has an impact.
It doesn't seem like a buzz club to be at the moment. You know, it just seems. I don't know. You can't quite put your finger. But the crowds don't help. The general atmosphere. The thing about Slade, everyone's slating him, and I don't know. And you know, as long as he's in charge, I ain't going down. And all. I mean, it's all contributing to a generally a
nice atmosphere.
No, a lackluster atmosphere. I think.
Enjoyable.
But in no way am I suggesting that the players take that on the pitch, because I think one thing you say about the Blackburn game, I think they were really going for it there, the players. You know, there was no stinting in the shift that they were putting in. They were sweating blood to try and get that breakthrough, and they deserved to get it. They didn't play fantastically well, and they would all admit that, I'm sure, if they were allowed to talk to the press, of course. But they got the result, and they fought through it. It was the pit. We've got to talk about the pitch. We have got to talk about the pitch.
Going on?
Yeah, well, this is.
I don't know. I have no idea.
I mean, it has been a ridiculous amount of rain.
Apparently, because Wales were playing on it in June in the Euros, there wasn't enough time to relay the pitch as usually takes place. Certainly not to the standard we're used to, says Bob. I don't know.
I've talked to every player I've spoken to, saying I don't talk to many players. I've said it's atrocious. We can't play on it. We don't. We
can play on it.
Well, we find it difficult to play on it. They find it difficult to get that.
They weren't so long ago. Some of them were on the park and then under 14s, 15s. I've seen those pitches, mate. Yeah, you know,
these
is
are
bad.
pros, man.
It is, yeah, but it is bad. But you know,
it's not helping.
I don't get that. You play on any surface. You know, if you're an international, you go abroad. Some of the pitches you have to play on. No, mate. Listen. The beach is flatter, trust me. So you know, it doesn't help.
Yeah.
But two teams are playing on there, both of you. You know what I mean? It's the same for both teams. It just tests your technical a bit more. That's all it does. You have to watch the ball a bit closer than usual.
I don't know what they can do about it between now and the end of the
Roll
season.
it.
No.
Roll it. Get the rugby on there.
Cut it out. Yeah, thank goodness the Blues aren't on there. Crikey, you'd never be like a quagmire.
Well, I'm sure that you can find out this afternoon.
Yeah, from your source. HP.
What's the line on it? Why is the pitch so bad? And what?
Well, I think because of the lack of it being relayed. And somebody was telling me there may be more new grounds staff in charge, but I obviously wouldn't lay that at their door. I'm sure they're doing a fantastic. Well, I don't know. It's just like being a Cardiff City reporter. I sort of figured I should know a little bit about Cardiff City, just to help ease me through my days.
I know you know a lot about Cardiff, but you got these new sources.
I know, well, crikey, I don't know. Half of it's probably rubbish.
Indeed, all the sources. So Kenwyn's gone. I mean, the other player we always talk about transfer time is David Marshall.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who we'd expect.
Come on, what's your sources saying about that?
Do you know what they've been saying?
I got another one on there.
Okay, come on.
On a roll.
£10 million price tag slapped on the
We should call this the inside boot room.
The inside the boot room. Well, you know, first thing I'll say.
He's under pressure now.
I want this renamed Tucker's Boot Room now. There's no way this is going under
Hey, preach, man, preach.
Hey, the guy's a passenger, for goodness sake. The guy's a passenger. I can't get real. I
want to get on.
There is incredible determination to hold on to him this month within the club. Somebody described him to me as irreplaceable. They say whatever money they get, they don't think they can replace him
When they willing to let him go in the summer?
They rejected. No, they rejected 5 million from West Brom.
They said they wanted 7 or wasn't it?
They want 10 now. It's going up and up through the roof.
Okay.
They you know, look.
It's good though. It's good to hear.
I was about to say that. Look, I don't know what supporters think about it out there, but it's good to see Cardiff.
See your best players leave the
good
club.
to see Cardiff actually saying, hands off. If you're not coming in with big money, we're not selling, and that is the message.
Rather
that Cardiff
say, well, you know, maybe next season, but right now we've got the playoffs to go for. So.
Look, you know how these things work. I'm not saying that they're saying 10 million, but what they're doing by doing what they've done with that figure is they're saying you ain't having him on the cheap. You come to us. You really want him. You prove you really want him with a serious offer, and that's the situation with it. They're determined to hold on. As for these reports with Everton, there was reports that Everton and Martinez were now looking at him. From what I hear, no approach.
Yeah, if that's always the key.
So they've had an approach. No.
That's always the key.
Well, I'm told no formal approach.
Once you hear, nothing's happening. That usually means
it's like the vote of confidence from the chairman.
You got it.
We're right behind him all the way to the dole queue.
Yeah.
But it's early days. We're only on the 4th. It's going to be exhausting. It's going to be great this month, though, isn't it? So I like the transfer window, man.
Everyone loves the transfer window.
People always sort of say they don't like the transfer window.
It's excitement.
I love it. I think it's brilliant. We got through to February 1st now, just churning out absolute nonsense, in-depth stories on who Cardiff are signing.
From my sources.
My sources don't get ill. They go around their houses.
Mike Jenkins says, totally right to put a 10 million fee on Marshall. He's worth every penny. Best keeper outside the Premier.
Yes.
Would Marshall really want to go somewhere to play second fiddle on an established keeper at a bigger club?
I think Everton, if that,
he'd probably prefer.
That'd be a temptation because Tim Howard's under a bit of pressure.
Yeah.
So that would be that's a worry for me because they're a great club as well, and they're going great guns. You know, they look like a serious squad.
Yeah, they've got some good young players.
I mean, the situation, unless it's silly money, as I was told, he's staying.
Well, 10 million isn't silly money.
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying unless it's yeah, I think he's worth it as well. So for a guy who's 30, you know, as we know, a keeper like that, he got another 6 seasons in him, really.
Because West Brom offered 5, wasn't it? And the club was saying they wanted 7 or 8.
They wanted a bit.
Well, they wanted 6 allegedly, but I think they value him even more than that.
Well,
now.
He is worth more. I mean,
they feel they're in the driving seat. They feel they don't need to sell. They don't want to sell.
He's just signed a new contract recently.
Yeah, it's up to 2018.
I would just say, like,
they're saying that they
caveat. I mean, with the West Brom thing, he did suggest himself, I believe, that he would be interested in speaking to them if a fee could be agreed.
Well, I mean, that's a different kettle of fish with what Marshall himself might want. But what I've been told,
if a club like Everton do offer 7
million, he's going to want to talk at least. Yeah, of course.
But one caveat on the whole thing is, I was told that if they don't go up this summer, that would be it. They think. For Marshall, they would probably not able to stand in his way then.
The sources tell you that too. Wow.
Yes, man. We're doing a lot of listening. So you know what this job's all about, Blakey? Listening. Giving a listening ear to everybody. But that's the latest with Marshall.
Yeah. What about just a quick question? Actually, Tux, you hopefully know the answer to this. Is there any update on Idris Sadi?
Oh goodness! Oh no. Not a more recent one. I was told middle of January. So hopefully
middle of January
this year.
Yeah,
we're hoping.
Back.
Well, he'll be back.
Back fit.
Well, we're back fit. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, back in contention. Hopefully. Yeah. I mean, I must admit, I completely gone off the radar a bit until then. Yeah. I shall have to ask my source. Should have brought my phone. Hello, Mum. When's Sadi fit? But the middle of this
month.
month.
Says Marshall has to be worth 10 points to us every season. Which probably at least that. Yeah.
Do you think he's been right? Okay, devil's advocate. Do you think he's been a little bit not quite as brilliant as he has been before recent? I don't know why I'm talking that staccato. I'll tell you what I'll do. Having said it in that weird way, I'm now saying like a normal person.
Just ask the question.
Do you think he's not been as good recently, a little bit off the boil as he was earlier in the season? Are there a couple of goals recently that you might look at and think, ooh, I could have done a bit better with that?
I think there's one or two that maybe he could have saved.
Yeah.
But I would say earlier on in the season, he was absolutely
Brilliant.
on fire, could you say?
Yeah, okay. All right, that's enough of that now. Let's go.
No,
Do
yes.
you think he's dipped a little, though?
No.
No.
I just don't think he's
Performing miracles.
I said that he can't play at that level all the time. It's like he went through after his sending off, he came back and he went through like a 5-6 game period where he was almost unbeatable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like a striker who scores like 8 and 8. You know what I mean? He's not going to keep it up. You know what I mean? You're asking for miracles then.
Okay.
So
we're just throwing it out there.
he's still
He
for me.
remains the
He's probably top 12 goalkeepers Premier League, I would say. I would say it's probably there's the elite in there, your De Gea's and what have you.
Yeah.
Then there's like people like your Tim Howards and your Schmeichels. I would put him in that sort of category, just off the elite.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's that good.
Okay. Yes,
Do you think
fine.
that's like
A couple more comments then. Big S says, I don't think any new
Big
players...
S?
Big S, that's
Go
what
on, Big S.
he calls himself.
Love it.
I don't think any new players coming in can change the direction and morale of the club. It needs to filter down from the top, through the squad, back into the fan base. Gone, it seems, is the passion
Big S,
from players.
come
and fans
again,
alike.
mate, because I cannot put it any better myself. So I was trying to make that point, but I'm just going to let Tux roll today, and let's hope that he's right. But that's kind of the feeling I'm talking about. It starts.
Is that a thinly veiled attack on Slade, though? Read it again. Listen. Am I getting paranoid now? That's an attack on Slade.
I don't think
it comes from the top.
I think he's talking
Talking
about
the top.
very
The
top.
owner.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's
Not just
All
Vincent
right.
Tan,
Okay.
the owner, the board, the chief exec, the manager. It comes down,
All
doesn't it?
right. Okay.
Indeed. Carl says, Tux, can you find out through your sources
Yeah.
where and what Vincent Tan has in store for us over the next 3 years?
That would be very good. Through your sources, ask him what the medium-term plan is.
This is
Promotion to the Premier League.
This is a good point. Either he should push us forward or sell us, because at the minute it's kind of
Who's going to want to buy it? Nobody's going to want to buy it anyway. Sell it to who? There's no one else.
Well,
to
that's
buy
not
it.
that's not the answer, is it? You just answer the question with a question.
All right. Well, no, but there's nobody to sell it to.
Well, of course, there's someone to sell it to.
I'm
There's always someone to sell it
I'm
to.
told he's committed. Tan is committed. Tan
By your
wants
source?
his go. Well, it doesn't matter who it's from. I'm just told the noises within the club are that Vincent Tan is still totally dedicated to Cardiff and wants them in the Premier League next season.
Okay.
I can't. I'm not saying that's. I'm saying that's what the club. I'm not quite sure why I know that and the whole fan base doesn't know. Why they don't come out and say, Vincent Tan himself doesn't come out and say, let's make up. If I was advising Vincent Tan on public relations, I'd say to him, I would have said to him, put a Christmas message out. Put a New Year's message out now on the official site. Say, hi, Merry Christmas, whatever.
pop over, come and say hello.
You come and say hello, or at the very least, put, he's a busy guy, he's got a billion, I'm sure he's incredibly, but I mean, even at the least, put something out saying, New Year, let's all on together to the Premier League, I'm into it. Doesn't do him any harm. It only takes somebody 10 minutes to write it. I'll write it, I don't mind. Badly. I'll write it badly for him. But, but the noises are from within the club itself, at the higher echelons of the club, that Mr. Tan is still focused on Premier League. I think he's had his fingers burned in the past with fees and wages and all that. And I think there's an
I think you can't say that he's not part responsible for that.
No. I mean, I think
so. It's no good
what
crying
happens
about
he made
something
mistakes.
that you're partly responsible for.
He would say he's learning from his
mistakes. He's learning from it, and I think he feels that you don't have to throw millions and millions upon it to get back into the Premier League, and that is what he's hoping.
But he's seen the likes of Bournemouth, etc.
Yeah, etc. Yeah,
I'm sure we were saying that Bournemouth spent a good bit of dough.
Well, definitely
they did spend money.
Spend a little more, haven't they?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, but I'm told that's
clubs with the size of Bournemouth and their fan base being in the Premier League, doing so well in the Premier League, I think shows. But that's a club that there's a lot of continuity, a lot of togetherness at that club, both on and off the pitch.
Well, they got what Cardiff haven't they? Like a sort of spirit almost. Unity.
Usually find you look at Middlesbrough now. They seem to have it. Their fans, their manager, their players. They seem to be on all on the same page.
Well, it hasn't always been like that. I went up the
It's not
riverside
very
a few years
often-
ago, there was
what
no
I'm
one
saying
there.
It's not very often that clubs who are a bit disjointed get to the Premier League. Remember Blackpool and Holloway? They were fantastic on and off the pitch. He had a great relationship with not the chairman there now, but his father. It just blossomed, didn't it? I think to get success, or from my experience, to get success out of something that's a bit disjointed, it will never happen. You just kind of went from game to game. When we were successful, it was always the club and its staff, whether you're talking ticket office or management staff, there was always a continuity, always a real good feeling about the place, you know?
Yeah, but I think there's a lot of fans, you know,
Don't diss them.
don't diss the fans.
No.
Well, I would never diss the fans because they're great, but I mean, the fans that are there now are amazing.
Oh,
But I think there's a lot of, no, hang on, I think there's a lot of fans who are using a lot of excuses, not, you know, they're saying there's no unity and all that. Isn't it down to the fans in a way to get behind them? What do they have to be? They have to be led to it. I mean,
You have to create it. That's the club, you know, that's the wrong way
they
round
should get
thinking.
behind the side more than the side is being, because the players are desperate to do well and they want to do well, and I think some fans, I think the fans that are there now are amazing,
you're
particularly
missing
when
the
away
bigger
from home.
picture, I do.
Well, particularly away from home. But I think there's a lot of floating fans in Cardiff right now, 4 points off the playoffs. Not the greatest football in the world, but I think there's a lot of stay-away fans that could have a look at themselves and say, can I play my part and get behind this, and maybe, just maybe, it will happen. I think there's a lot of fans. I understand, you know, I haven't got any money. I know it's expensive, I go for free, so I know there's a lot of, it's expensive and all that, but I think there's missing thousands of fans now who've had plenty of excuses not to go. All right, they had the red kit, that's gone.
You've got an owner that doesn't go.
No, yeah, all right, that's fair enough. But I mean,
No, it's not something you can
ask
just
not
brush
what
over,
your
mate.
club can do for you. Ask what you can do for your club. To paraphrase JFK, you know what I mean? That's pretty grand, that, right?
That was pretty good, yeah. I'll give it
The
to you.
point comes where if you want the success, the players, I'm not saying all of them, but the first team players, the first team squad, they're desperate for success. They want the success. You only have to look against Blackburn. They played rubbish half the time, but they were still knocking on the door in driving rain, saying, come on, and they got the breakthrough. The point must come for a lot of fans who stayed away to look at themselves and say,
Oh,
well, how
don't
do I
say
get
that.
behind this? Why can't I buy into this? And
Because it's bigger than- it's bigger than that.
should I put any past prejudices aside and get behind it?
Do you think the problem lay then with the fans? Do you think the problem lay with just the Russell Slade sort of, we don't want to, not going down it? Do you think, your opinion then, that is the problem that's keeping most
No,
of the
I
fans
think
away?
I agree with you. I
Or
think
don't you think it's a far bigger picture than
I
what
do.
you're
I think there's a
painting?
sense of disconnection.
There's not a sense, there is a
There's
disconnection.
a disconnection.
You've got fans arguing
There's still
with
the
fans
red.
on the...
There's still the red. There's still the Vincent Tan factor that people don't like. Still, and then you add into that the mix of people thinking Russell Slade is not the man for the job. His football's rubbish. And I see all that. Maybe I'm not the best guy.
How do you fix
Maybe,
it?
You know, we should get a fan on
How
here.
do you
I don't
fix
know.
it? Do you think the fans in general fix that, or do you think that's the job of the club to repair that?
I think the club could do better, but what I do think is individual fans. You're not going to get some massive, but I think there's a lot of fans out there now. The new year, if you're making a resolution to say, you know what, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to go back down. I'm going to get behind it. They're 4 points of play. Let's get back behind. Let's get the crowd up by 2,000, 3,000 now running in. You know, that would make all the difference to them. Because you can't knock the players for not trying, and you can't knock Russell Slade for not trying. Whatever you think his limitations, the guy's trying to engineer this thing. Whatever you think he's rubbish or he's brilliant, I'm just saying there's a lot of individual fans, and when lots of individuals get together, as we know, they can make a big difference. And I'm saying, at this point in time, right now, whatever's happened in the past, some fans could reappraise their approach to the club and maybe think, look, I'll give it a go. I know it's expensive, all right, I'll sell the family heirlooms and I'll go.
So the fans think differently, but the club don't act or think differently.
I don't think the club.
They have to. It has to be. It can't.
What do you want them? What do you want them to do? What do you think they should do? Because they would argue. I mean, I'm going to list them here, but I think they try and do a lot of sort of fan promotions and community things for kids and that sort of thing.
Give away tickets to schools.
There's been
at some point you do have to draw a line and just say
let's
get behind these guys.
But that's but that for me is done by the club. That's not done by the fans. I think as a club, you, like I've said before, the structure and the strategy you have going forward will largely satisfy or dissatisfy your fan base. So, like Tuck says, coming out with a message of some sort from the owner to paint a picture of, not an in-depth, but a general picture of, it's no good just saying, we want to be back in the Premier League next season. Yeah, you know, don't we all know that? How are you going to do it? How are you going to get there? You know, Tux has got a line of optimism in him, I know, and I've heard it for the last couple of weeks because of the situation he's found himself in. He wouldn't be this optimistic if things were different, right? I know this, but I stay on the side of, right, I'm a fan, right? I look at the club and I think to myself, it's no good chucking out, oh, kids can come free and blah. You've got to have a general, the fans got to feel that it's honest, first of all. And I think you've got a large number of fans still arguing, going down there, still arguing on the terraces. I speak to fans regular. You've got a large number of fans now who stop going away to away games. So the club has got to do its bit, and I think they've got to do a lot more to appease the fans and rebuild that relationship, because
it's two-way traffic,
you can't build a relationship. That's what I'm saying. It's very difficult. I've always said it's very difficult for a fan who's been going to a club for 40 years to then turn around and say, I'm not going no more. To get rid of a fan, a loyalist, is so difficult. And we haven't lost 2,000 or 3,000. We've lost probably, best part of 8,000. That's you know, as a club, you've got to find ways and look at ways of how you're going to improve things. Yeah? You've got to rebuild relationships. It's as simple as that. And you've got to recognise...
Isn't that what he did by putting it back to blue and all the rest of it?
Well, yeah, but it should never have been there in the first place.
Yeah, but you can't say that.
But then once this happened, but it wasn't a mistake, was it? It was. You can't just say, well, we'll overlook it now. You might think like that, and I might not think like that. You might think totally different. What I'm saying is, once you've gone through the whole process and lost those fans, to then say to them, well, just come back and support the team because, you know, they need you. Well,
but I think that's just easy to... I'm just saying there's a lot of fans, individual fans out there who could have a real... It's like, look, for example, you work in a company and you look at the top brass in the company, you say, God, they're rubbish. I hate the management, they're rubbish, they're making this job rubbish, they're not doing this, they're doing that, I hate it. The point comes where you as an individual working within that company say, no, I'm going to make it better for myself, I'm going to do this, I'm going to be proactive, I'm going to try to enjoy this process, I'm going to rise up through the rank, a personal thing. And I'm just saying there's a group of fans there.
Really?
I think there's fans.
Is that what you would do if you were unhappy in your office job?
Well,
is that what you would do?
No, but I'm saying there's...
Because you're asking something of people that you're probably not prepared to do yourself.
I'm saying there's fans out there who could look at the reasons they're not going and say, well, hang on, maybe I was a bit harsh, maybe I could... Because I think it's two-way traffic. And let's face it, the club is the club. It exists in its own right. I don't care who owns it for now or who runs it. The club of Cardiff City for like over 100 years, it exists in its own form. It's just there, hopefully forever. And you have a service, the fans have a service to that spirit of the club itself. Not the owners, not the general manager, not the guy, not the players even, but to the spirit of Cardiff City. And if, you know, and some fans need to have a hard look at themselves and say, no, I'm going to buy back into my club because I want it to be successful. And I can play my part by going there and cheering on these guys. Crikey, it's not great football. Blimey, for years, it was absolutely turgid for years. And I used to stand there like that, going, yeah, get in, you know, Division 3, Division 4. They finished, you remember the late 90s, they were almost on the bottom of the whole thing. I wasn't thinking, oh God, I tell you what, this football's awful, I'm going to stay at home. I was down there doing it. And I think there's a lot of fans now that could swallow some pride and say, no, let's get behind him. I don't like Slade, I don't like Tanner, but I love Cardiff City. I want to do something about it.
And then you look at what is... No, I'm just trying to play devil's advocate with you. Then you look at what is being produced on the football pitch. Is that going to bring the fans back?
No, at the minute, no. I wrote that in the piece. I agree. The first half.
That's the difficulty, though, Tux. How do they come back?
It's not the flaming Royal Opera House. You're not going there to. I don't even know if you're going there to be entertained, are you? I think that's a new. Crikey, when I was down on the Bob Bank Terrace, I wasn't going down there to watch Lee Badley and all that and flaming who else to be entertained. I was going there because I was almost like serving the club that I was born into. Because I felt an obligation to go and do that, you know? And that's why I was doing it. But it certainly wasn't entertaining the slightest.
I do believe you're talking nonsense.
You know, so well, I don't know, maybe it's
I have to
nonsense.
disagree.
But I do think there's a lot of fans out there could do a bit more for the club now, could swallow some pride, whether they like Russell Slade or like Vincent Tan or hate Craig Noon or hate the woman serving the tea. It could be a bit more done, proactively by fans.
I think it's really interesting. So, well, let's try and...
I'm going to get beaten up now. And Blakey totally agrees with me, by the way. And will defend me to the hilt.
I will.
Let's have a couple of these in. Bob's a lengthy one, a couple of comments from Bob, but we'll put them both together. All this talk of lack of atmosphere is based on negative comments about Slade, the hierarchy, the performances, fans saying they won't go renew their season tickets, etc. I remain positive, always will, as I remember the dark days in the past. The performances are better, and after all, winning is the most important thing. Where would we have been without Tan's money? Nobody was queuing up to take on the club before him, he says. He says we're a better placed club than a lot of other teams around the country. Tucker is talking sense today. Come on, true fans, let's get behind the club and the players, he says. Adrian says, Tux, you're talking rubbish. If the fans are not happy, then they have a right to stay away. It is a joke. Carl says, has the club ever written to the supporters who don't go anymore? No, is the answer. That has to be a big PR failure. When you're again, says Blakey, you should talk to the silent majority who was positive about the club.
It's easy to be negative.
Tuck's taken out a New Year's resolution to be more positive about the club for the second half of the season. It's the most upbeat I've ever heard.
I'll be honest. To be honest, I'm still drunk from New Year's Eve. But you know, where
Jamie, I haven't read this. What's his name? Jamie says the people at the top, he says, have nothing to do with the loss of the current atmosphere. Crystal Palace fans are unhappy with their club in regards to ticket prices, etc. But they are there week in, week out, making more noise and supporting their team better than anyone in the country. It's easy to sit at home and moan, but rather than wait for success, fans have to show their support for their team, even if they don't agree with the way the club has been run.
I totally agree with that in that sense. I do. I think there is a point. If you're sat in a pub on a Saturday afternoon going, "Card, how are they getting on down one day?" and you'll have to look at yourself and say, "Well, hang on. Well, why aren't you down there then, contributing to them fighting back from 1-0 down?" Because you should be, because you're not serving the higher echelons of the club, you're serving the club itself and the history of the club. And at the moment, the players who are trying to achieve something.
The people who aren't there fall into two camps. One, the real hardcore fans who will not go back while Vincent Tan is there, simply because they don't buy into it, the sort of the honesty, that feeling around the club, they just don't feel it, and until he's gone, they won't go back. And then the other ones who've gone since the Premier League days, the fair weather fans who never really cared that much.
Look, that guy who went on about Palace was right. They're not happy with the thing there. They're still there serving their club. What's to say you're against Tan? You go down and you voice yourself and say Tan out. You're on the terraces. You paid your money within reason. You say what you want. You protest against Vincent Tan. You protest against Russell Slade. I hate this, but this is my club, and you won't drive me away from it. Rather than just sat in a bar or sat in your house watching flaming Gone with the Wind, you know what I mean? Get down there.
I think-
Be proactive.
I think there are people down there
we
like
were
that.
always told, and when I grew up, and you the same, Cardiff City have got the best supporters in the world. They'll run through brick walls for their club. They'll go through anything. They'll die for Cardiff City. They're bleeding blue. Well, that's not true. That's turned out to be a load of rubbish. Because obstacles, certain obstacles, I don't like this, I don't like that, I'm not going anymore, that's it.
Well, they would
That's
say their Cardiff City ceased to be their Cardiff City with what Tan
That's
did
nonsense.
and all the rest
That's
of it.
nonsense. The club, are they saying when Tan does go that you know, Tan doesn't define.
he'll come back.
Come back.
Tan,
yeah,
well,
that's
all right,
what I
fine, but Tan doesn't define the club for me. The club for me is the fans, is the aura surrounding. You know, I don't want to go jumpers for goalposts and misty-eyed, walking down Sloper Road with your old man when you were a kid with the floodlights on a Tuesday night going, oh my, thinking, wow, this is it. That's what the club is. It doesn't reside with any people. It resides in all those memories, that collective memory. And I think there's fans now who could swallow some pride and get back behind the club for the sake of the club. Not the owners, not the management, not the staff.
Okay, spot on, Tux, says somebody. Roy Colley says, Blakey is right. Ever since Slade took over, I won't go down. I paid to see a good game of football. That's not what's going down there at the minute.
Well,
This
guy must have not been going for 30 years then, because if he thought he was going down for he can't have been there through the 90s because he was absent.
Says he's been a City fan right back to the times of before Peter King, he says.
Well, I mean, if he's saying, I don't doubt it.
You
But
come back with a quick one there, boy. He's got you there.
No, he hasn't. In the sense that if he's saying he won't go down now because the football's rubbish. He was going down. He was going down when it was a lot more rubbish, and it was in the basement division, and City were in danger of going under. So I mean, if he could withstand it, then crikey, right now he's got. I think, and as somebody said earlier, I agree with that. Crikey, 3-2 Brentford. Exciting game, last minute Kenwyn Jones. How much excitement do you want? That's an entertaining prospect right there. They shouldn't have gone back to 2-2. They're there. They're trying to play. They want to thing. They are.
Entertainment does mean something. Then.
Well, I don't. We've always had a disagreement on this. I don't think it's the end all and be all.
No, it's not.
If I thought when I was a teenager and I was going down all the time, I wouldn't have gone.
I've never said that.
Well, yes, you have. You always
It's
said
the
it's an
be-all and
entertainment. No, okay, not the be-all, but you said it's a vital factor. It's an entertainment business.
It's part and parcel. If you pay your money, you're not going there not to be entertained.
I almost disagree.
You got Manchester United, the biggest club in the world, and their fans will tell you, we expect to be entertained. Louis van Gaal now is under pressure because they feel they're not being entertained. Attack, 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 attack. So if it's good enough for them, are you saying then no, it doesn't equate to us?
No,
then?
I'm not saying it's good enough for them.
No.
I have doubts. I disagree with you.
If football isn't entertainment, how do you sell it all around the world for billions and billions of pounds?
Passion for the club, and love of the club. I don't think. If you want to be entertained, go and see.
Do you think every fan that bought the TV or buys and watches it on TV is a fan? And as a passionate fan of football. I'm not talking about those kind of fans.
I'm talking about why there's low crowds at Cardiff City right now and why people are staying away.
No. Well, I'm making the affiliation that football, not be all and end all. I've never said that, but entertainment is what you expect. It's entertainment which brings more fans through the door. When Sunderland are rubbish, they lose 20,000 fans. When they're fantastic, they gain 20,000 fans. Football is part and parcel of football is entertainment.
Right, well,
it's your weekend. You look forward to it. You don't want to go and not be entertained. You want to be entertained.
I personally, when I was going all through the 90s and all that, entertainment was the last thing. I like going down. I like meeting my mates. I like going to have a beer, a couple of beers. I like going to Ninian Park.
Then you liked watching a good. So if you given the choice, would you rather watch a game which is of good entertainment value, or are you saying I'm not bothered whether it's
I'd much rather watch a game of good entertainment. It's like going to see a film. I'd much rather see a good film than one that's going to bore me.
Exactly. It wouldn't keep you away if it was.
No, not really. I don't think it's. I know you didn't say it, but I don't think it's the end all and be all. And coupled with that, I think Cardiff are playing much more entertainingly anyway. At the Averfleet and are trying to do that.
Roy
I'm
says
just
you
saying.
don't, you don't have to pay Tux, we do, he says, exclamation.
Okay, that's fair enough. Maybe that's the point.
is a
I don't
point.
know. I don't know. I'd like to think I would go anyway, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I very much.
Maybe
doubt
Carl
it.
says the trouble is there are thousands of people
Busman's holiday.
Thousands of people watching Gone with the Wind at home at the moment on a Saturday afternoon. Vincent Tan should be an active owner, get a decent manager with a decent promotion fund, get the club moving forward instead of treading water. Where is Vincent Tan? He asks.
Malaysia. Or LA.
Look at Leeds, is that what some fans would prefer? I'm pinching myself. Tux is talking complete sense.
I hate it when people sit in and say he's talking sense for once. Like, you know, I was thinking it's
always
like a
comes to that-
compliment.
that
It's always that thing. I can't believe I'm agreeing
Mate,
with
you're on a
him.
soapbox today.
I am,
I'm actually
I am.
quite enjoying listening.
Are you
to you,
enjoying
bro.
it?
I am. I really am.
Taking us all the way up to 2 o'clock.
Have I?
Yeah.
Oh, crikey. I
Yeah.
hope I haven't wasted too
We
much
haven't even
time.
had time for the old FA Cup debate, which we normally have. But
Do we want a cup run, Blakey, do you think? Any good?
Yes, he always says yes.
Yeah, you love a cup run.
Yeah.
Fans love a cup run.
Make changes, do you think? Or play it strong?
Got a big squad, haven't we?
Yeah.
So,
Big
some
crowd for
changes.
Shrewsbury.
And it's on the telly as well, isn't it? It's on the telly.
Could be
What I
right.
can't get 6 o'clock on a Sunday night. I'm usually home watching Songs of Praise then. What's going on? I can't believe it. So it's a bit of a hard sell for me, for the fans to come. Don't get down there for Shrewsbury, or you'll miss out.
There we go. Well, anyway,
I remember
you'd
Shrewsbury,
hope for a Cardiff victory.
21,000
At Shrewsbury,
at Ninian Park.
Yeah.
Cardiff City v Shrewsbury in the promotion season. 21,000.
I'd like to think if they're pushing the second half of this season, which maybe you don't think.
What is
they
it? Shrewsbury got thumped 7-1 by Chesterfield on the weekend, so
City should get a replay then this weekend. If
It's always different in the FA Cup, innit? You got to give the boys
anything
that.
can happen.
They'll go in, Cardiff will go in slightly
you'd
down.
expect a fully changed team, wouldn't you, really? With
Pretty much.
Alex Ravel leading the line.
Big change, yeah, guys like that coming in. I
And even
think.
Gabriel Tamas at centre-back.
Is he still there?
Is he still?
I don't know
Not-
what's
not
going
much
on with
longer,
him.
but
But
yeah.
I like the third round weekend though. It's not a great draw for.
It's probably the worst ever third round draw. It was pretty dull.
yeah,
No,
it's not-
because you can get through. You want to, go on.
Yeah, all right.
Beat
be great to get
Shrewsbury
in
and then
the
you're
fourth,
through to the next round. You pull someone like
it doesn't.
Everton home or
It
something
doesn't
like that.
feel that it's not. I actually preferred it when we were like in the fourth. It was much better when in the fourth division. You were like
When
going
you were
like
the underdog.
Arsenal,
Is
Liverpool,
that
Liverpool. You know,
the type
now
of,
it's almost like we played them a couple of years ago. We
Say
did this-
Cardiff beat Shrewsbury and say they draw Man United at home next round, full house, Cardiff City Stadium. You know,
That could change
they
it.
win or
Yeah,
they
yeah.
draw. You know, so
Yeah.
it's one of those
Yeah.
occasions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could
That's
that
the sort of thing
That's a
that could
good
spark
point.
the
I hadn't
fans.
thought of that. That would be
Yeah.
fun. That could spark
Yeah.
something. Home to
Yeah.
Man U or something.
Yeah.
Van Gaal getting done.
Good John,
getting
he's
fired.
good.
He's been here over an hour. He had to say something interesting within that. If he
We've
kept
been
talking-
standby. We've been.
If he kept talking long enough, he had to say something
Yeah.
interesting. That's the philosophy. I go
bystanders
by
with
as well,
John
yeah.
today. We just.
Yes,
yeah,
cup
man.
run for City. Let's get.
Yeah.
I tell you what, a thumping of the Shrews, huh? Like a 5-0, a proper decisive
5-0
bang
and then
bang.
go
You know,
pull
yeah,
like
go.
Southampton in the next round,
Oh, do
or
we
a
Southampton?
Everton or a Tottenham or something like that.
Yeah,
a real,
Tottenham home be good.
a real
in the
plum
next round.
tie.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves. But
You know?
Yeah.
That'd be great, wouldn't it?
All right, let's wrap things up there. I think it's been.
So
entertaining.
FA Cup,
So I thought
FA
it was going
Cup.
to be transfers, and then
Tux.
the last 57 minutes, Tux went off on a tangent.
I was getting misty-eyed for a while then. I believe it though. I don't know. I just believe that you have a duty to the club.
Yeah. Well, you know.
You do.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not. You're born there. Your old man took you down. Your grandfather took you down. You've got you've got a duty to tend. It's like a flower. If you don't tend it, it will die.
Gotta end on that one.
Come on,
Whoa!
you stop now.
I love it.
I love
What's
it,
happened to you, New Year, mate?
I don't know, man. It's a new leaf. I'm turning over a new leaf.
Yeah,
In the
man.
new
Flowers,
year.
leaves, sauces.
But you've got
I
to
don't
tend
know,
the club.
man.
Tend the club because
You're
you know.
the man. You're the man.
I bet your ancestors who went down in 27 and all that. I bet they'd be looking at you now saying, "You lily-livered." When the time gets tough, you stood in B&Q with a wife. Get down, Cardiff City Stadium and be done with it.
Absolutely.
And suffer like the rest of us.
Mate, it's for me, it's one of those
Yeah.
I would say it swings in.
It will.
roundabouts.
You said Borough earlier.
Yeah.
I remember I saw Cardiff at Borough a
remember
few
them?
seasons ago, and it
Remember?
was the lowest ever crowd for a league game at the Riverside
Yeah.
Stadium. It was a few years back. I remember I was writing it in the report. And now you just said they're on a buzz now, they're on a thing.
It goes in cycles. Even
Yeah,
for the mighty Man U, you look at them now. You know, they're going through that
Yep.
transitional period. Chelsea's.
Yeah, Chelsea.
Okay. Right. Thanks, chaps.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tux, man.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Yeah, well done, Tux. One of your strongest performances.
Oh, is it?
I'd say.
Okay, perhaps I'll get a move to something half decent in the January transfer.
It wasn't that good.
Hope the Bieber watching. Here I am. Come and get me, boys.
Cheers, chaps. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for all your comments and questions, etc. You can join us live Sunday now. Sunday, that rather peculiar time of, was it 6 o'clock?
6
or something
p.m.
like that,
kickoff.
for FA Cup, Shrewsbury Town. Should be a cracker. I don't know. There we go. Yep, we'll be back same time, same place next week. See you then.